What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. We are here for round 7 of season 5 of our My Team Career Mode as Jaguar Racing, and it is time for the Monaco Grand Prix. And there was once a time in my life where those words would send shivers down my spine. I would be deathly afraid. I just want to get through it as best I can, maybe try and score a point if I could, but really just accept that my fate was well and truly in the bin. But those days are long behind us, because at this stage, this is probably the race I look forward to the most, with the possible exception of Japan, on account of the fact that it is one of the only races where I feel like I can consistently make my way towards the front and then actually stay there, in no small part due to the fact that overtaking is literally impossible at Monaco. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one quite a lot. The aim is very simple. I'm going for pole position and I'm going for the win, and yeah, nothing more to it than that. If Jack Doohan can get a good result, that'd be great as well, but Lord knows we need one, because we are currently 52 points adrift of Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship, and yes, there are still 17 races to go, including this one this season, but that by no means means that I'm going to be able to catch up that deficit unless I start getting good results very soon, or the gap could be insurmountable by the time we get to the halfway mark or so. I would need a lot of luck, but right now I feel like I am still in control of my own fate. If I can just get on top of the car issues that I've been having and the driving issues I've been having, in that there is a bad driver behind the wheel of the car, then I'm hoping that I should be able to challenge for this World Championship without too much of a struggle. Now, things are going to be interesting this weekend, because there are some suggestions that there may be some rain at some point during the race, which could throw a spanner in the works. So even though qualifying is going to be dry, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have things all our own way, even if we do get pole position with a wet race. That could really throw things off for us. Now, in practice, we weren't the fastest by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, we were all the way down in the 112s. However, I really did feel that there was potential here for when we get into qualifying, that we might be able to just about deliver a result that I can be proud of, and you know, hopefully get onto pole position. I felt like the potential was there. I was consistent on the medium tyres during the race strategy run, and that was something I was quite happy with, because it's a track that is a nightmare, quite frankly. So yeah, it's quite nice to be able to get the car hooked up around this track, and we'll see what we do on our first flying lap on a fresh set of softs. We're into the 110s now. It's a 110.6. Jack Doohan was obviously in the very high 109s, and yeah, we will see if we can improve on that time that we set in our first flying lap as we get onto our second flying lap now. And here we are. You can see we had a pretty poor run through Anthony Nogues and Raskas, but we still improved by over 7/10 into the 109s. It's a 109.8, and that is good enough for P2 in the end, which is pretty nice. Exactly what I wanted to see at this point. And we're still on 99 difficulty, by the way, just to clarify, just in case you were wondering. We haven't changed it since that Baku race, because I haven't had time to do a difficulty calculation for any track since then. But 99 seems to be working pretty nicely for me at the moment. Second and fourth for us in the Jaguars at the moment, and there is a bit of a shock here. Sergio Perez is out in the Red Bull. He is out in first qualifying, along with Joe, Stroll, De Vries, Sargent and Fittipaldi. So yeah, a little bit of a shock there. Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. You know, he's a multiple race winner, championship contender in some seasons, and he is going to be starting towards the back in this Monaco Grand Prix. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one unfolds as the season goes on, and whether Sergio Perez can get himself in the mix come the end of the season or not. But we do a 110.1 on used softs, which I was actually pretty happy about. And yeah, now I'm going to see if I can improve on that a little bit now that we're on the fresh softs, and we'll see if we can make our way up the order. You know, P9, it would have been good enough to see us through to Q3 regardless. But we crossed the line. It's a 109.3, and that is good enough for P1. So hopefully we can get a result sort of similar to that in Q3, and hopefully challenge the others for pole position here if possible, but we will see what we are capable of doing. It's a 110.0 for Jack Doohan, so he makes it through in P7 there. And, well, another high-profile elimination here in Q2. Max Verstappen and George Russell are both out in Q2. 2, along with Lawson, Sonoda, Hulkenberg and Gasly. Meanwhile, the Alpine of Ocon making it through. That's pretty impressive by his standards. He doesn't make Q3 very often, so I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with that. And maybe he'll be challenging up the tail end of the order in Q3 here, but we'll see what we can do. We're on a fresh set of softs to kick things off. And as we come into the final sector, you can see I actually tagged the wall a little bit there, but I think I managed to just about avoid getting damage. And I can see that the comparison times here, Norris has a 1:10.1 initially, and as we cross the line is a 1:09.6, which is a very good lap on a used set of softs actually. You know, this was meant to be my banker lap, and it might actually be good enough to get us pole position outright, but we'll see. We're down in P3 as things turn out, as we get into the final part on the fresh set of soft compound tyres. We're improving by about 4 or 5 tenths here. Will it be enough for pole position? We cross the line. It's a 1:09.1, and you can bet your bottom dollar that is pole position. I am elated with that, and hopefully that will give us the best possible start in the race.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Robinson, Oscar Piastri and Dennis Hauger. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So it's going to be P1 and P4 for the team, and I'm going to be starting ahead of Piastri and my former teammate Dennis Hauger as well. Magnussen doing a decent qualifying to get P5 there as well. So this is a real opportunity for us to get ahead of Norris, or at least catch up to him a little bit in the championship. So we have to try and take every opportunity we can as we get into the Monaco Grand Prix.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but we still race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There is no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Robinson lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hauger, Doohan, Magnussen, Norris, Leclerc, Albon, Ocon, Sainz, Verstappen, Liam Lawson, Sonoda, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Russell, Joe, Stroll, De Vries, Sargent, Fittipaldi, and Sergio Perez completes our grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
And of course we get that glitch where they don't do an intro cutscene, so we're going to be getting straight into the race here. I am going to be getting cut off by Mark, but you know, he doesn't say anything for too long, just saying let's score points again. I would say if we don't score points here, something has gone horrendously wrong, and yeah, hopefully we should be able to fight for the win here. Starting from pole position, I'm hoping for a very carefree race today where we can just you know, drive around the track for a little bit, have a nice 39 laps of peace and bliss, and not have to worry about anything too much as we lead home. Hopefully Jack Doohan, who makes up 2 positions off the start, for a Jaguar Racing 1-2. Maybe the first 1-2 in our team's history, if that were the case, because I can't think of another scenario where a teammate of mine has even won a race, never mind been involved in a 1-2 in any scenario. So yeah, Jack Doohan obviously got that sprint victory in Azerbaijan, but that is the extent of victories for Jaguar Racing that aren't under my name. But we will see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out, and we've gotten away well compared to Oscar Piastri. So yeah, this was basically the only part of the race where anything could possibly go wrong, and we are leading out of Sandoval on lap 1, and this should be a Monaco Grand Prix victory for me. However, things might not be that straightforward, and here's why. Because there is a warning that there is going to be some rain at the tail end of the race. Not exactly sure when it's going to come in, but there is every possibility that the rain could come down and really put a downer on things if if we end up getting screwed over by strategy or something like that. Obviously, the strategy in Imola when it rained and then stopped raining worked in our favour. We managed to go from P11 to P5 off the back of a strong wet to dry strategy that we were going for there. Most people choosing to finish the race on the inters. They were very slow towards the end of the Grand Prix, but will it be the same for me? Maybe, will I have to try and do something drastic here? So my plan is very simply whatever the team tell me to do strategy wise, that's what I'm going to do. I think that's going to be the best way that I can try and secure victory here today. I think if I try and do anything fancy, anything special, anything clever, I think it's going to go disastrously wrong. So I'm basically just going to adhere to the team strategy, which is box on lap 19 for a set of hard compound tyres. That's my plan. I'm going to box on lap 19, and we're just going to go from there. Lap 5, and Dennis Hauger does try and go for a move around the outside of us into Sandoval. We make a tiny bit of contact with him there, but we do manage to just about stay ahead. So no real worries there. It was a little bit dicey for a second there, but Dennis Hauger does end up having to give up the position. And I must say, I'm a little bit worried I gave him wing damage there, because as we get onto lap 10 here, you can see that he is 5 seconds down the road now, whereas he was very close to us before that. So I am wondering whether he incidentally picked up a little bit of wing damage. Nothing too drastic, but just enough to make him a little bit off the pace in comparison to me. In any case, I'm not going to worry about it too much, because at the end of the day, he was trying to go round the outside of me at Sandoval. I don't really know where he expected me to go. I tried to give him as much room as I could, but at the end of the day, it's not the easiest place to go around the outside. Usually, most overtakes that do get done into Sandoval, which are few and far between to begin with, they usually happen up the inside in my experience. So yeah, I don't feel too bad about that. So my pit window is close to opening now as we make our way onto lap 17, and we're leading the race very comfortably, 9 seconds ahead of Dennis Hauger at this point. I don't think we're going to have to worry about too much here, if I had to guess. And yeah, like I said, pit window open, or about to open in a couple of laps. So yeah, we're going to be boxing hopefully as planned, but we will see what people do here, because I think if anyone started on the softs, now is probably around the time that they will be boxing. And as you can see, if you look to where the pit lane is, there are a couple of cars coming into the pit lane now. So there is the possibility that they could do something, they could spring a surprise if I'm not careful. I know that 10 seconds is a big deficit, but when you consider that I was lapping around 4 or 5 seconds slower than my fastest lap so far, there is definitely the possibility that a car or an alternative strategy could do something. So in the end, I said I was going to box on lap 19, but I've come in on lap 18. I lied. I couldn't follow the team strategy because I was so nervous that someone was potentially going to spring a bit of a surprise on me. So yeah, we're just going to keep going around. And hopefully we've come out in a pretty good position here. It seems like we're just ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, as long as he doesn't overtake us on the run up the hill, which he doesn't. And eventually, as we make our way towards the end of lap 19 at the start of lap 20, you can see there's a lot of cars coming into the pit lane. We're up into P6 and we've got a bit of an air gap in front of us once again. So this has worked out basically as nicely as we possibly could. We caught Ocon basically right before he went into the pit lane, so we didn't get stuck in traffic for too long here, and now we've got an air gap in front of us again. However, Carlos Sainz, I think we probably will catch him before the end of this lap, when I imagine he will be boxing off those hard tyres, or it might even be next lap, given that they are the hard compound tyres. So we might actually have to do a very rare thing here and go for an overtake at Portier, and we're going to go up the inside of Carlos Sainz, get the better exit, and we have overtaken a car in Monaco. Can you believe it? It's not a race completely devoid of overtakes. I have actually managed to overtake someone. Yes, he is on tyres that are lapping around 4 seconds slower than mine at this stage, but that doesn't mean very much in the grand scheme of things. All that matters is that I have made an overtake at Monaco and made my way up into P5, which, I'm very much in the net lead of the race, because I am right on the back of the train, which was the chasing pack. Hauger coming into the pits now, Doohan coming into the pits as well. I think Hauger's already pitted actually, but Doohan, he was in that train, and he's coming to the pits. Norris in the pits, Magnussen in the pits, and it's just Albon now that is yet to come in. I imagine he will be coming in on this very lap. Given that he hasn't pitted already. His teammate was on those hard compound tyres as well, so it made sense that they couldn't really double stack being that close together. But yeah, I'm very, very optimistic about our chances now of of winning this race without too much of a hiccup here. There's a few more cars yet to pit off medium tyres behind us, by the looks of things, like Hulkenberg and Lawson, and Pierre Gasly, I imagine, as well, is yet to box, but we will see what happens with those guys. Gasly might actually have boxed already, and if that is the case, then he's pulled a blinder here to get himself quite high up. But I think Hulkenberg and Lawson will definitely be pitting again if I had to guess. Meanwhile, I am stuck behind Alex Albon. I cannot make an overtake on him. You know, I overtook Carlos Sainz, but he was on medium tyres, I think. Actually, no, he was on hards, so I don't know what my excuse is for this one. I guess maybe Alex Albon in the Mercedes just showing a bit more pace than the Ferraris, and yeah, we just have to bide our time behind him for a lap. It does mean that Hulkenberg catches up to us quite significantly there, but I do think that he is probably going to be boxing again, and so we've taken the net lead of the race, and I think we have about a 15-second advantage over our nearest competitors here, so we should be in a very good position. However, as we make our way onto the start of lap 26, you can see actually that Hulkenberg and Lawson still yet to box. I, at this point, have realised that's the net position that they are in. So it is me leading Hulkenberg and Liam Lawson at Monaco. There's a very good chance the race could end this way, unless you know, Norris is bold enough to make some overtakes. I don't think that these guys are going to fall off the podium here. It'll be a first podium in Formula 1 for Lawson if that is the case, and a first podium since his win in Baku, which was a very spurious victory to say the least for Nico Hulkenberg. You know, that was a bit of a crazy situation. I DNF'd in that race, obviously, and then a bunch of cars finished a lap down, which I concluded was probably some kind of glitch that led to Hulkenberg getting a victory. Yes, Haas was a very strong car at that stage in the season, and Kevin Magnussen actually did get a win in the Haas on pure pace in a race I did finish. So, yeah, it's not out of the question that he could have won it on merit, but this is a podium that Nico Hulkenberg will certainly be earning on merit. And, yeah, there were some warnings about the rain potentially coming. But as we make our way onto the final lap of the race, I don't really see a world in which the rain is going to disrupt us very much. Even if it starts raining on this lap, it's not going to make any difference to the grip on track unless it really absolutely tips it down over the next minute or so. But yeah, I think we are in a very, very good position to hopefully hold on to the victory here without too much of a struggle whatsoever. You know, once Hauger started holding up the pack, it really just worked out quite nicely for us. And what I think happened with Hulkenberg, I think he actually boxed early, maybe because he had damage or something like that. And he's kind of done a bit of a Sergio Perez Portugal strategy, if you remember that race that happened. I can't remember if that was in F1 22 or if it was on this year's game, but I had a race once where Sergio Perez got damage on like lap 5 or 6 around Portugal and managed to win the race by boxing early onto a set of hard tyres, and I couldn't catch him on fresher tyres. So yeah, that was a very strange race, and one that stays in my memory quite significantly, and I wonder if Hulkenberg has done something similar to get himself into P2 here. But in any case, the win has not been robbed from us on this occasion, and we are going to round the final corner, and we are going to come up to the line to take P1 in Monaco, our first win of the season, and I am very, very pleased with that outcome. And yeah, hopefully that will not be our last win this season as we try and now get ourselves back into the championship fight. Nico Hulkenberg gets a deserving driver of the day, going from wherever the hell he went to P2, and it is a win for us.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
So it is indeed a podium which I saw might be coming towards the tail end of the race. It is myself, Nico Hulkenberg, and Liam Lawson picking up a first podium in that Williams. What a surprising outcome to this race. I don't think anyone could have predicted this podium would be what would happen at the end of the weekend. But that is what's happened. And yeah, the first points of the season for both Haas and Williams there as well. So yeah, very surprising result.
And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. It's a good result for Lando Norris, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Robinson.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. Well, that certainly was an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, it is a good result that moves us very far up the order in the championship. I actually don't remember what that was. It was about P5 or P6, I think. And then we're up to P3 in the Constructors' Championship as well, which is nice. And we're actually knocking on the door of second place as well. So, yeah, we're looking very good in the positions we're in at the moment. And we've closed the gap quite significantly to Lando Norris. He finished P5 with fastest lap. So it's a 14-point close on him now. We get the gap down to, I think it's 37 points or something like that, 38, something to that description. And yeah, hopefully we will continue to make our way back towards him as we come into a part of the season which I actually feel like I am quite strong around. You know, we've got Spain coming up next. That's a 50-50 for me. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But then we've got Canada, which was where I got my first win all the way back in season 2. And then we've also got the likes of Britain, which I love, Austria, which is always good for me, France, which I tend to go quite well at, Hungary, which actually is surprisingly good for me, I guess because, again, it's quite difficult to overtake, so it's a bit like MONACO in that regard. And then, you know, we move into some tracks which are a bit more difficult for me, like Belgium and the Netherlands and things like that. But, you know, by that point, hopefully, we should be really, truly back in the championship fight. That's the goal, that's the aim, and I'm hoping that that's what we're able to do. We're dead close with Jack Doohan in the championship now. He picked up P6 here in the end, so it was actually a strong finish for Jack Doohan, who, you know, he qualified P4, got a bit unlucky with the strategies of the likes of Lawson and Gasly and Hulkenberg as well, but I think in the grand scheme of things, he's still done pretty well. It would have been P3 if not for all of those incidents. So I think he can be pretty happy with what he's achieved here. And to be fair, I'm quite happy with his performance as well. I'm looking forward to Spain. Hopefully we can continue this run of form now, get on a bit of a run, and you know, at least get a podium. Ultimately, the goal is to simply close the gap to Lando Norris. So I don't really care how it happens, and anyone else who's ahead of me in the championship as well. Obviously, I want to finish ahead of. I think this is going to be a really tight championship fight this season. That's my prediction. I think there's going to be lots of cars in the mix. I imagine the Red Bulls can get in there, the Aston Martins, even the Ferraris and the McLarens possibly. You know, it could be 6 different teams, as many as 6 different teams, I think, battling for the championship title. So, yeah, it is going to be very, very interesting to see who ends up on top. But, you know, one thing's for certain, me and Jack Doohan are going to be pushing as hard as we possibly can to make our dream a reality. As I said, next up is the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. That track could really go either way. I'm hoping it's going to go the good way, but we will have to wait and see as to whether that's going to be a good race for us or not. But that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.